So regarding the extensive military cooperation of the sovereign states of the sky with certain truly sincere and valued partners such as the powerful Russian Federation, the Republic of Turkey, and the People's Republic of China, we observe significant collaborative efforts. This is a fundamental reality. These are truly pragmatic and essential cooperations, firmly based on genuine sincerity and, above all else, proven effectiveness.
Okay, so that was just a brief version of what I'm going to share today. It's Assimi Goita. Remember, these leaders don't really give interviews. The only person who has been in public really is Ibrahim Traore, but Assimi Goita is actually the leader of the Sahel. Like, he's the one that started the whole movement of, like the Sahel and so on. So I think it's very interesting to listen to what he's saying. I could probably brief you a little bit and then I will allow you to listen, but he's really talking about how they came to even be a confederation to begin with, how they wanted to attack Niger, just like they attacked Benin recently. Nigeria actually sent fighter jets to Benin because they overthrew a president who really deserved to be, like, when I say deserved to be overthrown, I don't mean deserved to be overthrown in the sense of like, okay, I'm in agreement with government being overthrown. But honestly speaking, when you go into a leadership position and you say you're going to just be there for 5 years, and now all of a sudden you are changing everything so that you remain there for 40 years. And this is a problem that I have with the West in general. They have not taken Museveni out. They are okay with Paul Biya. That's because they actually control the resources of those countries, right? But when it comes to a president who is like working for the people, like Ibrahim Traore, Assimi Goita, how many times was Ibrahim Traore almost assassinated? What about Assimi Goita? So that is when you know that we are not really democratic. Democracy is actually, I don't even know how to say it. I've talked about democracy before. Democracy is just an illusion, to be quite honest. It's just an illusion sold to African leaders to really kind of make them think that, okay, they are doing the right thing. Because the reason I say that is because the Western power can actually take a democratic elected leader and overthrow them because they are doing everything for the people. So that's when you realize that something is wrong somewhere. What is democracy really, to be quite honest? Does it really even exist? Your girl with her hair. I love my hair, guys. Anyway, so yeah, now we are talking about Assimi Goita and what's going on. So I want you to listen to his speech and so on.
Welcome to the Presidential Palace of Kuluba, where we are received by the President of the Transition, President of the Confederation of Sahel States, for an exclusive interview as part of the second session of the College of Heads of State of the Confederation of Sahel States. Mali, which has thus led the first steps of the Confederation of Sahel States. What is the assessment? What has been achieved? And what are the prospects? The President of the Transition, President of the Confederation of Sahel States, will answer us in a moment. Good evening, Mr. President.
Good evening.
And to conduct this interview, I am joined by Fuseni Tonkara from the Presidential Communications team here at Kuluba. Good evening, Fuseni.
Good evening, Sirah. Good evening, Mr. President. Good evening.
So welcome to this set. Mr. President, 1 year of the AES presidency, it's a journey, it's a series of milestones. Tell us, what were the first actions taken during your presidency? What is your perspective?
Thank you, Sirah. And first of all, I would like to pay a well-deserved tribute to the sovereign people of the Confederation, that is the people of Burkina Faso, Mali, and Niger, who very quickly understood the stakes of our struggle, which revolve around the vision of respecting our sovereignty and the interests of our peoples. So I really want to thank them, and above all ask them to always remain mobilized, committed, and to remember that the fight is not over.
Your Excellency, what was your ultimate objective in agreeing to lead the AIS for this very first year?
Before answering this question, I would first like to go back to the motivations behind the creation of the Confederation. when certain African countries decided to attack the country. Brother of Niger, it was at that moment that we decided to offer our support in terms of brotherhood and especially military support to truly defend the integrity and sovereignty of the country, brother of Niger. It must be acknowledged that this threat of aggression was real, because one of the presidents of those African countries who had decided to attack Niger even called me to try to dissuade us from interfering in this situation. And at that time he asked me if everyone was in agreement. And I replied to him, if we are not in agreement and you try to attack Niger, you will see what happens next. So after an hour of discussion, the president in question was really convinced, and he said he was the only barrier to be able to see a possible negotiation, but he said that the decision to attack Niger had already been approved. So this is to show you just how real this threat was. Then he tried to explain to me that the situation in Niger was different from that in Mali and Burkina. In his words, if he let President Bazoum stay in power at that time, then who would be next? I simply replied, if we let you attack Niger, then it will be the turn for war next. So those were some heated arguments. In the end, I think he came to his senses when he saw that we were truly determined to defend Niger. So this is to tell you that the threat was real and to really formalize our union, to give it a legal character. To legitimize our union to defend Niger, we unanimously and simultaneously decided to sign the Liptako-Gurma Charter to establish the Alliance of Sahel States. In this Liptako-Gurma Charter, its article calls for the establishment of collective defense and mutual assistance among the member states. Also, in its Article 4, it aims to combat terrorist armed groups in all their forms, cross-border crime, and above all, banditry. So, in its Article 6, which is the most important, it states that any attack on the sovereignty and territorial integrity of a member state of the alliance will be considered an act of aggression. And it will require collective and mutual assistance from the other members of the alliance. So I think today this is a reality, and I believe this is what guarantees this confederation.
It started as a national defense pact, but today the AES stands for 3 Ds: diplomacy, defense, and development. Today you have gone with this foundation. We are going to begin. Regarding the defense aspect, what has been done in terms of harmonizing and coordinating military actions then?
When you look closely at the LQM chair, its content is just a single pillar, and as they say, without the rifle, the charm will never work. So also aware that without sustained diplomacy, these 2 pillars cannot thrive. This is why, during the Niamey Declaration, we decided instead to establish the Confederation in order to expand the defense pillar to include the other 2 pillars, namely defense, security, and development, and diplomacy. So to return to your question regarding defense and security issues, we will need to free ourselves from the formal establishment of the Confederation on July 6, 2024 in Niamey, and immediately the various ministers of defense and chiefs of general staff got to work. First, initially, officers of the Legion were deployed in the different countries to coordinate the various operations. Next, there is a phase of ramping up to ultimately achieve a truly unified and cohesive force, because when you carefully look at the comprehensive agenda of the Confederation, it becomes clear that Mali was specifically tasked with diligently working on the establishment and full implementation of this essential unified force. So there was then a comprehensive training phase with extensive tactical exercises meticulously held in Niamey, the capital city, as well as in various other significant Sahel states and regions. Togo and Chad also participated. So that was the beginning of the ramp-up phase. There was also the comprehensive training of essential staff officers, meticulously conducted by the esteemed Allo Blondimbe Medical School, located in Mali. Consequently, all these concerted and strategic actions collectively made it entirely possible to successfully build up a truly unified and cohesive force. Therefore, we diligently established the fundamental and comprehensive standards for this newly formed unified force. In a pragmatic and visible way, there have been major advances in terms of security. The first principle is freedom of action. Today, our countries have this freedom of action, of movement. Today, we are free to go wherever we want, to do whatever we want. So that was not possible at all in previous years. So when you also look at the beginning of 2023, there were several joint operations against these armed terrorist groups, the most recent of which were Iriko 1 and Iriko 2. So these operations have indeed allowed us to neutralize several terrorist groups and above all to disrupt them, which was not possible before. Through certain foreign countries or some powerful nations that had even put a bounty on the heads of these terrorist leaders in terms of reward. So today we must acknowledge that the East has managed to change this dynamic, not only by neutralizing hundreds of terrorists, but also by destroying several terrorist sanctuaries. So today, this has allowed us to bring some peace to the area. When you also look at it in terms of strategic autonomy, our respective countries have suffered greatly and profoundly because we truly didn't possess that essential freedom, that crucial ability to easily and readily purchase necessary equipment, especially since its procurement was unfortunately outsourced to various other countries that consistently use this vital sector as a powerful tool to exert significant influence over us and our policies. But we must truly acknowledge that today, with genuine partners, we are now able to equip ourselves more easily.
Excellencies, you spoke earlier about partnership, and today it's truly obvious the Confederation of the States of the Sky has strengthened its military cooperation. Tell us a bit about this cooperation.
So regarding the extensive military cooperation of the sovereign states of the sky with certain truly sincere and valued partners such as the powerful Russian Federation, the Republic of Turkey, and the People's Republic of China, we observe significant collaborative efforts. This is a fundamental reality. These are truly pragmatic and essential cooperations firmly based on genuine sincerity and above all else, proven effectiveness. In a partnership, the most important thing, first of all, is mutual respect. The way each party looks at the other, the way everyone is treated, and the way each tries to protect their own interests. So I think that the most important thing today with these three states, there are other partners, but the most strategic are these three states I just mentioned. Truly, these countries, we have to acknowledge, really helped us during difficult times. At times when some countries abandoned us, there were also always efforts to destabilize us. When we asked for support from these countries, indeed they helped us. They helped us. When you look today, some partners have provided us with public equipment. As I said earlier, even having money was not at all obvious. It was not at all obvious. Today, thankfully, we have managed to acquire this equipment. When you look at it, acquiring equipment often takes years. It's years of planning, often 2 or 3 years. But in an emergency, as soon as we spoke to these presidents, they quickly gave instructions to their governments so that we could really gain access. The equipment that is currently coming to Mali, it was not an easy thing. But when I spoke with President Xi Jinping, he recognized the urgency and that we are at war. And in front of everyone, he also gave top priority to Mali. And he personally ensures that his instructions are followed. I am very eager for this decision to be implemented. I thank you today for making this a reality. People can see the equipment arriving. This shows you that it is genuine, that it is a pragmatic partnership. With these different partnerships, we have managed to bring about change. The situation in the Sahel has changed in terms of the fight against armed terrorist groups and in terms of reorganizing our armies.
So this allows us to bring up the issue of diplomacy, which is no less important, Mr. President. Today, states assert themselves through diplomacy. We have observed that the AES speaks with one voice. This is very important for the Sahel states to be able to make themselves heard internationally. Tell us, how do you achieve harmonization at this level? How do you manage to align your viewpoints and speak with one voice?
Indeed, you are right. When the Confederation was established, some people did not take us seriously. But there was also an effort to divide us, to distract us. So we had to understand this strategy and also be able to counter it. In short, we quickly understood and prepared ourselves. Because the dynamic that was in place was to ensure that the East could not exist. You'll see, even when it came to invitations to participate in certain conferences or meetings, they would invite people individually. So we tried to put an end to that. If the three states are invited by an organization or by a country, we requested that it be under the banner of the Confederation. So that was the first step. Harmonizing our vision and our positions at the level of international and sub-regional bodies during votes, or if certain countries request our support, it is done within the framework of the AS. So we consult, we support, and then we validate. So this really allowed us to be able to assert ourselves on the international stage and achieve the ultimate goal with the Confederation. It's not only about making the Confederation operational, but above all ensuring that this organization becomes an essential partner, not only at the sub-regional level, but also internationally. I think that as of today, the ESF has become irreversible, and it is a reliable and indispensable partner. So really, the challenge. Diplomacy has played its role, and we will continue to further strengthen these achievements.
Hi guys, I just wanted to take this time to welcome all those who are new on this channel. For those who have been following us, please don't forget to share this video, comment, just so that we have a conversation. And the only way you can support us is to subscribe for those who hasn't, and for those who are new on this channel. So, and if you want to give us a super thanks for what we are doing, do that. Yeah.